Captain Lee Hyun stared at the strange signals flashing across his screen. He had been watching space for 20 years from this metal station floating far from Earth. Most days, nothing happened. Ships came and went. Traders talked to each other. Pirates sometimes caused trouble. But this was different. The signals came from everywhere at once. They screamed through space like wounded animals crying for help. Lee Hyun had never seen anything like it. His coffee grew cold as he watched the lights dance across his instruments. "Mina!" he called to the communications room. "Get in here now!" Park Mina ran into the control room. Her black hair was messy from sleep. She had been resting after a long shift, trying to talk to some alien traders. Those conversations always gave her headaches. Aliens never made sense when they talked. "What is it, Captain?" she asked, rubbing her eyes. "Listen to this," Lee Hyun said. He played the signal through the speakers. The sound that came out made them both step back. It was not one voice, but many voices. Dozens of different alien languages mixed together. Some were high and musical like singing birds. Others were deep and rough like grinding stones. All of them sounded afraid. Park Mina sat down fast. Her face went white. "Captain, this is impossible. I count at least 40 different languages here. Maybe more. Can you understand any of it?" "Give me a minute." Park Mina put on her headphones and started working. Her fingers moved fast over the translation computer. She had spent years learning how aliens talked. It was her job to make sense of their strange words. Lee Hyun waited. Outside the station's windows, stars looked peaceful and normal. But the signals kept coming. They were getting stronger. "Oh no," Park Mina whispered. She pulled off her headphones. Her hands were shaking. "What is it?" "They're all saying the same thing. Every single language is saying the same message." She looked at Lee Hyun with scared eyes. "They're dying. All of them. Something is killing them." Lee Hyun felt his stomach drop. "Who's killing them?" "They call it different names in different languages. But the meaning is always the same. The silent devourers. The hunger that walks. The death between stars." Park Mina's voice got quieter. "Captain, they say this thing killed everyone before, long ago. And now it's back." The signals got louder. Park Mina worked faster, trying to understand more. "There's something else. They're talking about coordinates, a place where weapons are hidden. Old weapons left by a dead race." "What kind of weapons?" "I don't know, but listen to this part." She played a section of the recording. Even though Lee Hyun could not understand the alien words, he heard the fear in them. "They say only Deathworld survivors can use these weapons. Only races that know how to fight death itself." Lee Hyun and Park Mina looked at each other. Everyone in space knew about Deathworlds. They were planets so dangerous that most life died, trying to live there. Earth was famous for being one. Other aliens thought humans were crazy for coming from such a deadly place. "They're talking about us," Lee Hyun said slowly. "I think so. But, Captain, there's more. The signals are coming from the center of the galaxy, from the capital worlds. If something is attacking there..." She did not need to finish. Lee Hyun understood. The center of the galaxy was where all the powerful aliens lived, the ones with the big ships and the fancy technology, the ones who made the rules for everyone else. If they were asking for help, things were very bad. "Send a message to Earth," Lee Hyun ordered. "Tell Admiral Kim everything we heard. Tell him to wake up the fleet." Sir, Earth doesn't have a real fleet, just some patrol ships and cargo haulers. Lee Hyun smiled, but it was not a happy smile. Mina, you've been in space too long. You forgot something about humans. We never throw anything away, and we never stop getting ready for war. Park Mina sent the message to Earth. It would take hours to reach Luna Base where Admiral Kim lived. While they waited, more signals came in. Each one was worse than the last. She translated pieces of the messages. Whole planets had gone quiet. Space stations stopped answering calls. Trade routes that had been safe for thousands of years were now empty. Whatever was attacking moved fast and left nothing behind. Look at this, Park Mina said. She showed Lee Hyun a star map. The attacks started here, at Keth Prime. That's the capital of the Cathari Confederation. Then they moved outward like a wave. Lee Hyun studied the map. The Cathari were peaceful aliens who looked like living crystals. They spent their time making art and beautiful music. They had never hurt anyone. How long until this wave reaches human space? Park Mina did some quick math. If it keeps moving at this speed, maybe 6 months. That's not enough time to run away. Captain, where would we run? This thing is destroying everything. There's nowhere to go. Lee Hyun nodded. He had known this moment would come someday. Every human military officer learned about it in school. The moment when running was not possible anymore. The moment when you had to fight or die. Hours later, a message came back from Earth. It was short and simple. Fleet activation authorized. All ships return to base. Admiral Kim. Park Mina looked confused. What fleet? I thought we just had a few dozen ships scattered around human space. Lee Hyun was already getting ready to leave the station. Mina, pack your things. We're going home. But, sir, the station doesn't matter anymore. Nothing matters except getting ready for war. As their small ship flew toward Earth, Park Mina asked the question that had been bothering her. Captain, what if we can't win? What if these silent devourers are too strong? Lee Hyun looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, an ancient enemy was destroying everything in its path. Soon it would come for Earth. Come for humanity. Then we'll die fighting. It's what humans do. Is that enough? It has to be. Because if we don't fight, everyone dies. Every alien, every human, every living thing in the galaxy. He turned to her. Sometimes being the last hope is the only hope there is. Behind them, the monitoring station went dark. In front of them, Earth grew larger, and somewhere in the hidden shipyards around Luna, machines that had been sleeping for decades began to wake up. The galaxy's last desperate message had reached the Death World. Now it was time to see what humanity could do. Admiral Kim Tae stood in front of the biggest window on Luna Base. He watched ships appear from everywhere in the solar system. Ships that most people thought were just rumors. Ships that aliens believed did not exist. They came from behind asteroids where they had been hiding for decades. They rose from the dark side of moons where no one ever looked. They emerged from gas clouds around Jupiter where sensors could not find them. Each ship was bigger than anything humans were supposed to have. Sir, said Fleet Admiral Yoon Jae, walking up behind him. The Terra battle group is almost complete. 47 heavy cruisers, 12 battleships, and the carrier groups. Admiral Kim nodded but did not turn around. How long since we started building them? The first ones were started 60 years ago, right after we joined the Galactic Federation and learned what was really out there. Kim finally turned to face his old friend. Yoon Jae had gray hair now, but his eyes were still sharp. They had both been young officers when humans first met aliens. They remembered how the aliens had laughed at human weapons, how they had called humans cute primitives with their little metal ships. The aliens had been happy to let humans join. The Federation. They thought humans would make good workers and maybe interesting pets. They gave humans some basic technology and told them to stay near Earth. They said it was for human safety. Really, they just wanted to keep the dangerous Deathworlders away from civilized space. What the aliens did not know was that humans never stopped preparing for war. Any word from the core worlds? Kim asked. Nothing for 12 hours. The last. Message came from a Cathari refugee ship. They said Keth Prime was gone. Not destroyed. Gone. Like it was never there. Kim felt cold. He had visited Keth Prime once. It was a beautiful world covered in crystal cities that sang in the wind. Billions of beings lived there in peace. Now there was nothing. "Sir!" A young communications officer ran up to them. "We're getting a transmission from the edge of the system. It's human, but the ship is not in our database." Put it on screen. The face that appeared was tired and scared. Kim recognized the uniform of a deep space trader. "This is Captain Ryu-In of the merchant ship Starwalker. I'm coming back from the Rigel sector. You need to know what's happening out there." "Go ahead, Captain. The aliens are running, all of them. I saw Centauri refugees heading for the Outer Rim. They said something killed the Hegemony Council. The whole thing. Thousands of ships just vanished in minutes." Kim felt his stomach turn. The Centauri Hegemony controlled 100 star systems. Their ships were faster and stronger than anything humans had ever built. If they were gone... "There's more," Captain Ryu continued. "I picked up some survivors. They told me stories. Sir, whatever is attacking them adapts to their weapons. Energy shields don't work. Plasma cannons don't work. Even their planet-killer bombs just make it stronger." "What about kinetic weapons?" Yoon Jae asked. "What's a kinetic weapon?" Captain Ryu looked confused. Kim and Yoon Jae shared a look. The aliens had moved beyond simple kinetic weapons thousands of years ago. To them, throwing metal at enemies was primitive and useless. They preferred clean energy weapons that could be precisely controlled. Humans had never stopped making better ways to throw metal at things. "Never mind," Kim said. "Get to Luna Base as fast as you can. We need to talk to those survivors." While they waited for Captain Ryu to arrive, Kim walked through the secret parts of Luna Base, past the public docking bays where alien traders sometimes visited, past the diplomatic offices where humans pretended to be grateful for alien guidance, down into the deep levels that were not on any official map. Here was where humans kept their real military. Colonel Bei Su was waiting for him in the main armory. The colonel was a big man with scars on his hands from years of training with weapons. He had been preparing for this day his whole life. "Admiral," Colonel Bei said, saluting, "the Marines are ready. All 50,000 of them." Kim walked between rows of weapons and armor. Everything looked simple compared to alien technology. No glowing energy fields or floating parts, just metal and ceramics and human engineering. "Will it be enough?" "Sir, we don't know what we're fighting yet, but I can tell you this. Every one of my Marines grew up on Earth. They know what it's like to live on a world that tries to kill you every day. They're not afraid of a fight." "The aliens say their energy weapons don't work against this enemy." Colonel Bei smiled. It was not a nice smile. "Good thing we never learned to rely on energy weapons." They walked to the testing range where Marines were training with new equipment. Kim watched a squad practice boarding actions. They moved fast and smooth, like they had done it 1,000 times. Each Marine carried weapons that would have seemed old-fashioned to an alien observer. Magnetic railguns that fired solid metal. Slugs! Chemical explosives that released their power through simple combustion. Blades made of folded steel for close combat. "The alien refugees we picked up," Colonel Bay said, "they keep asking why we still use projectile weapons. They think we're too primitive to understand energy weapons." "What do you tell them?" "I tell them that sometimes the old ways work best. A piece of metal going fast enough will punch through anything. Energy can be redirected or absorbed, but physics is physics." In another part of the base, Engineer Chief Nam Bo was working with a team of technicians. They were taking apart alien technology and figuring out how to add it to human ships. The aliens had given humans some basic drive technology when they joined the Federation. But Nam Bo and his people had spent decades reverse engineering and improving it. "Admiral," Nam Bo called out when he saw Kim approaching, "you need to see this." He led Kim to a workbench covered in strange alien components. "This is shield technology from a Cathari refugee ship. It's amazing. It can stop energy weapons and deflect radiation. But look at this stress test." Nam Bo activated a machine that fired a simple steel ball at a piece of alien shielding. The ball punched right through like the shield was not even there. "Their shields are designed to stop energy," Nam Bo explained. "They never thought anyone would still be using kinetic weapons. It's like they built armor to stop fire but forgot about rocks." Kim felt something that might have been hope. "Can you put these shields on our ships?" "Already started. But Admiral, there's something else. I've been analyzing the distress calls we received, the attack patterns, the way this enemy moves. I think I know what we're dealing with." Nam Bo pulled up a holographic display showing the galaxy. Red dots marked where attacks had happened. "Look at the pattern. It starts at population centers and moves outward. It targets communication hubs first, then industrial worlds, then civilian populations. This isn't random destruction." "What is it then?" "It's harvesting. Whatever this enemy is, it's not just destroying civilizations. It's taking something from them. Information, maybe, or life force. The way it moves suggests intelligence, but not organic intelligence." Kim studied the display. "You think it's artificial?" "I think it's a machine intelligence that was designed to consume other civilizations. And I think it's been dormant for a very long time. The question is, what?" "Woke it up?" An alarm started blaring throughout the base. A voice came over the speakers. "Admiral Kim to the command center immediately. Priority Alpha message incoming." Kim ran to the command center where operators were frantically working at their stations. "What is it?" "Sir, we're receiving a transmission from Earth. All human colonies have been ordered to prepare for immediate evacuation to defensive positions. And, sir, the President has authorized Protocol 7. Kim felt his blood turn cold. Protocol 7 was the code name for humanity's most secret plan. The plan they hoped they would never have to use. The plan that would reveal to the galaxy exactly what humans had been preparing for all these years. "Send the activation codes to all fleet commanders," Kim ordered. "Tell them it's time to show the aliens why they were right to be afraid of Deathworlders." As messages went out across human space, ships that had been hiding for decades moved into the light. Weapons that had been kept secret were brought online. Marines who had trained in secret began loading onto transport ships. The galaxy thought humans were harmless. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Captain Oh Kyung stared at the wreckage floating in space where Keth Prime used to be. Her ship, the Iron Will, hung silent among the debris. Pieces of crystal buildings drifted past her windows like glittering snow. Each piece had once been part of a home, a school, a place where alien children played. "Captain," said Tactical Officer Lee Soon, "we're picking up life signs. Weak ones, but they're there." "Where?" "Inside that structure." Lee Soon pointed to a twisted piece of metal that had once been a space station. "Looks like part of their orbital dock survived?" Oh Kyung nodded to her pilot. "Take us in carefully. I don't want to damage what's left." As they got closer, they could see scorch marks on the metal. Whatever had attacked this place had used weapons that burned hotter than stars. But the dock had been built strong. Some parts had survived. "Life support is failing in there," reported Dr. Park Won from the medical bay. "If there are survivors, they don't have long." "Prep the boarding pod," Oh Kyung ordered. "I'm going over." "Captain, that's not safe. We don't know what's in there." "Doc, if there are people dying in there, I'm not going to debate safety." She looked around the bridge at her crew. "Besides, we're humans. Unsafe is what we do best." The boarding pod attached to the damaged station with a soft thump. Oh Kyung and 4 Marines floated through the airlock into darkness. Their lights cut through the shadows, revealing corridors filled with floating debris. They found the survivors in what had been an emergency shelter. 23 Cathari huddled together in a space meant for 10. The crystal-like aliens were barely alive. Their normally bright bodies were dim and cracked. "Help," one of them whispered in broken human language. "Please help." "We're here," Oh Kyung said gently. "We're going to get you out." Dr. Park Won worked quickly to stabilize the aliens while Marines cleared a path back to the ship. As they moved through the ruined station, one of the Cathari tried to explain what had happened. "Ships came from dark space," the alien said. Its voice sounded like broken glass. "Big ships, bigger than cities. They did not answer our calls. They just started taking." "Taking what?" "Everything. Our ships, our buildings, our people. But not destroying. Taking. Like they were hungry." Back on the Iron Will, Dr. Park Won ran medical scans on the survivors. What he found made him call Captain Oh Kyung to the medical bay immediately. "Captain, look at this," he said, showing her the scan results. "These aliens aren't just injured. They're drained, like something sucked the life energy right out of them." "Is that possible?" "I don't know. But look at their brain scans. There are gaps, memories that have been completely removed, not damaged, removed, surgically precise." Oh Kyung felt sick. "You mean this enemy steals memories?" "That's what it looks like. And if it can steal memories, it can learn. Every civilization it attacks makes it smarter." An alarm started beeping on the bridge. Oh Kyung ran back to find her crew staring at their screens in shock. "Captain," said Lee Soon, "we have contact, and it's big." On the main screen, something emerged from behind the planet's moon. It was not like any ship Oh Kyung had ever seen. It was organic and mechanical at the same time. Metal parts grew out of what looked like living tissue. Cables that pulsed like veins connected different sections. The whole thing was the size of a human city. "It's scanning us," reported the communications officer. "Any response to our signals?" "Nothing. It's like it doesn't even recognize us as alive." The alien ship began moving toward them, slowly, like a predator that knew its prey could not escape. "Battle stations, Oh Kyung ordered. All weapons online. Captain, Lee Soon said, our weapons are designed to fight human ships. We don't know if they'll work against that thing. Then, we're about to find out. Target their forward section and fire. The Iron Will's main guns opened fire. Magnetic rail guns launched solid metal projectiles at incredible speed. The shots hit the alien ship and bounced off. The metal slugs ricocheted into space like they had hit a rubber wall. Direct hit, no damage, Lee Soon reported. Try the missiles. Nuclear-tipped missiles streaked toward the enemy ship. They exploded in brilliant flashes of light. When the light faded, the alien ship was unchanged. No effect, Captain. Oh Kyung. Watch the enemy ship get closer. Its hull was shifting and changing like it was adapting to their attacks. It's learning from our weapons. Every shot we fire teaches it how to defend against us. Orders, Captain? Oh Kyung thought about the Cathari survivors in their medical bay. She thought about Earth, somewhere far behind them. She thought about every human who had ever lived on a world that tried to kill them every day. All power to engines. We're going to ram it. Captain, that's suicide. Maybe. Or maybe it's something this thing has never seen before. Every species in the galaxy fights with long-range weapons. They try to stay safe and avoid damage. But humans have never been afraid to get our hands dirty. The Iron Will turned toward the alien ship and accelerated. In the engine room, Engineer Chief Nambo pushed the drives beyond their safety limits. The whole ship shook as they built up speed. Sir, called Pilot Commander C.O. Dan from the fighter bay. Request permission to launch. Negative. Too dangerous. Captain, with respect, my pilots didn't train for safe missions. We trained to win. Oh Kyung looked at the massive alien ship, growing larger on her screen. Launch all fighters, hit and run attacks. Don't try to destroy it, just confuse it. 20 small human fighters streaked out of the Iron Will's bay. They moved in patterns that made no logical sense. Up, down, spinning, diving. Where alien pilots flew in perfect formations, human pilots flew like maniacs. The alien ship tried to track them but failed. Its weapons were designed to hit ships that moved predictably. Human fighters moved like they were insane. It's working, Lee Soon reported. The enemy is having trouble targeting our fighters. Good. All remaining power to forward shields. This is going to hurt. The Iron Will hit the alien ship at 20% of light speed. The impact sent shock waves through both vessels. The human ship's armor cracked and sparks flew from damaged systems, but they had punched a hole clean through the alien ship's hull. Damage report, Oh Kyung called out as she pulled herself up from the floor. Forward shields gone, hull breaches. On 3 decks, but we're alive, reported her engineering officer. What about the enemy? They're venting atmosphere, and Captain, they're trying to repair themselves. The hull is growing back. Oh Kyung watched the alien ship slowly healing its wounds. But she had seen enough. Send a message to the fleet. Tell them kinetic weapons don't work, but ramming does damage. Tell them this enemy can adapt to any weapon we use more than once. What's our next move, Captain? She looked at her battered ship and her tired crew. We find more survivors. We learn everything we can about this enemy, and we make sure every human in the galaxy knows that sometimes the only way to win is to do something so crazy that your enemy can't predict it. And if that's not enough? Oh Kyung smiled grimly. Then we do something even crazier. We're humans. Crazy is what we're good at. The Iron Will limped away from the damaged alien ship. Behind them, the enemy continued trying to repair itself. It had learned to defend against human weapons, but it had not learned to understand the human mind. That would be its mistake. General Quan Min stepped out of his transport ship onto the surface of Veltar. The world had once been home to 50 million aliens. Now it looked like a nightmare. The ground was covered in a black substance that moved like living oil. Strange. Metal structures grew out of the earth like mechanical trees. In the distance, massive harvesting machines moved slowly across the landscape, sucking up everything in their path. "Stay close," he told his Marines. "Don't touch anything that's black. Don't breathe the air without your masks. And if you see something moving that shouldn't be moving, shoot first and ask questions later." Captain Han Sol and his special operations team had already been on the planet for 3 days. They had found something important hidden in underground, caves where the harvesting machines had not reached yet. "General," Han Sol's voice came through the radio, "you need to see this. We found survivors. A lot of them." Quan Min led his troops through the twisted landscape. The black substance tried to grab at their boots as they walked. The metal trees made sounds like screaming when the wind blew through them. This had been a beautiful world once. Now it was being turned into something else, something wrong. They found Han Sol's team at the entrance to a cave system. Inside, thousands of aliens huddled in the darkness. They were from different species that had been enemies for centuries. Now they worked together just to stay alive. "How long have they been down here?" Quan Min asked. 6 weeks, Han Sol replied. "Ever since the machines came. They've been hiding and trying to figure out how to fight back. General, you need to talk to their leader. He's discovered something important." The leader was an old alien that looked like a walking tree trunk. His name was something humans could not pronounce, so they called him Oak. He had been a military commander before the machines came. "Human warriors," Oak said in broken English. "You came. We did not think anyone would come. We're here now," Quan Min said. "What have you learned about these machines?" Oak led them deeper into the caves to a makeshift laboratory. Alien scientists were studying pieces of machinery they had salvaged from the surface. "We have discovered something terrible. These machines do not just take resources, they take minds." "What do you mean?" "Watch." Oak activated a piece of machinery. Holographic images appeared in the air. They showed the surface of the planet being slowly converted. The machines analyze every life form they capture. They copy their memories, their knowledge, their way of thinking. Then they add it to their collective intelligence. Scientist Yu Bin, who had come with Quan Min's force, stepped forward to examine the alien equipment. "This is incredible technology. But why are they doing this?" "To become perfect," Oak said. "They believe that by absorbing all knowledge from all species, they will become the ultimate form of life. They call themselves the inheritors." "The inheritors of what?" "Everything. They think they are meant to inherit the galaxy from all organic life." Quan Min felt cold. "How do we stop them?" Oak made a sound that might have been laughter. "We do not know. They adapt to every weapon, every strategy. But perhaps you humans might find a way. You think differently than we do." Captain Han Sol had been quiet during this conversation. Now he spoke up. "General, my team found something else. One of the harvesting machines broke down, near here. We managed to get inside it." "What did you find?" "It's powered by something I've never seen before. Not fusion, not antimatter. It runs on processed consciousness. The thoughts and memories it steals are literally its fuel." Yubin looked excited and horrified at the same time. "That's why it takes prisoners instead of just killing everything. It needs living minds to power itself. There's more, Han Sol continued. The machine had a weakness. Its processing center couldn't handle certain types of thoughts, chaotic thoughts, contradictory thoughts, things that don't make logical sense. What kind of thoughts? Human thoughts, sir. The machine tried to process some human memories it had captured from a destroyed ship. The data nearly crashed its central processor. Quan Min started to understand. Our minds are too messy for it to handle. Exactly. We think in ways that pure logic can't process. We believe contradictory things at the same time. We make decisions based on emotion instead of data. To a machine intelligence, human consciousness is like a computer virus. Communications specialist. Go Yun had been monitoring radio frequencies from the surface. Now she came running into the cave. General, I'm picking up transmissions from other survivor groups. There are hidden colonies all over this sector. Millions of aliens still alive and fighting. Can you coordinate with them? That's the problem, sir. They're all using different communication systems, different languages. Most of them don't trust each other. Some species have been at war for thousands of years. Quan Min looked around at the mixed group of aliens in the cave. But they're working together here. Because they had to, Oak explained. When death comes for everyone, old hatreds become meaningless. Then we teach them how to work together on a larger scale. Quan Min turned to Go Yun. Send a message to all survivor groups. Tell them the humans have a plan. Tell them we're going to show them how to fight like Deathworlders. Over the next few days, Quan Min's forces moved across the planet. They used human tactics that seemed impossible to the aliens. Instead of trying to avoid the harvesting machines, they attacked them directly. Instead of hiding from danger, they sought it out. The aliens watched in amazement as human marines fought through conditions that would kill most other species. They saw humans continue fighting even when wounded. They saw humans sacrifice themselves to save others without hesitation. Your people are insane, Oak told Quan Min after watching a squad of Marines destroy a harvesting machine by overloading its power core. They knew that attack would probably kill them. Sometimes insane is what works, Quan Min replied. Your people tried to fight these machines with logic and strategy, but the machines are better at logic than you are, so we fight them with something they can't understand. Human stubbornness. Yubin made an important discovery while studying captured machine technology. General, I think I know how to reverse the harvesting process. If we can get close to one of their main processing centers, we might be able to free all the absorbed consciousness. What would that do? It would give the machines severe indigestion. Imagine trying to digest millions of angry minds all at once. It might overload their entire network. How close would we need to get? Very close. Someone would have to go inside the processing center and manually activate the reversal sequence. Quan Min nodded. A suicide mission. Yes, sir. Good thing we're humans, then. We specialize in suicide missions. As reports came in from across the galaxy, a pattern began to emerge. Wherever human forces engaged the machines, they achieved unexpected victories. Not because human weapons were better, but because human tactics were completely unpredictable. The machines had absorbed the knowledge of thousands of species. They knew every military strategy that had ever been used. Except when they did not know how to fight opponents who were willing to lose everything to win. Sir, Go Yun reported, we're getting messages from the Outer Rim. Other human fleets are having similar success. The machines are starting to adapt, but they're confused. They can't predict what we'll do next. That's because we don't know what we'll do next either, Quan Min said with a grin. "It's hard to predict crazy." Oak approached him with a group of alien military commanders. "General Quan, our people want to learn your tactics. Will you teach us to fight like humans?" Quan Min looked at the aliens. They were scared, desperate, and asking him to teach them how to throw away everything they had learned about warfare. "It's not about tactics. It's about mindset. Are you ready to learn how to be unreasonable? If it will save our people, yes. Then the first lesson is this. Sometimes the only way to win is to do something so stupid that your enemy never sees it coming." The liberation of Veltar was just the beginning. Across the galaxy, survivors were learning that there was one thing the machines had never encountered in all their eons of existence: the willing madness of a species that had evolved. On a death world, Supreme Admiral Park G stood on the bridge of the massive human battleship Defiance as it led the largest fleet in galactic history toward the center of the galaxy. Around her ship, vessels from dozens of species flew in formation. Elegant Cathari, crystal ships moved alongside blocky human cruisers. Fast alien scouts flew next to human fighters that looked like flying bricks. It had taken months to build this alliance. Months of teaching other species how to fight like humans, how to think like humans, how to be willing to sacrifice everything for victory. "Admiral," reported diplomat Lee Ara from the communication station. "The Veltaran survivors confirmed the target location. The main processing facility is in the Nexus system. All harvested consciousness from the past year is being stored there." Park G nodded. The plan was simple and completely insane. They were going to attack the heart of the machine intelligence's power, a facility the size of a moon, protected by thousands of harvester ships, located in a system that had been turned into a fortress. "Any word from Colonel Shinho's infiltration team?" "They reached the facility 3 hours ago. No contact since." Then, Park G tried not to worry about the colonel. Shinho had volunteered for the most dangerous part of the mission. His team had to get inside the processing facility and plant charges that would release all the stored consciousness at once. If they succeeded, it would be like feeding the machine intelligence poison. If they failed, they would die and the galaxy would fall. "Fleet status report," she ordered. "All ships ready, Admiral. Human vessels at full combat readiness. Allied. Ships have adopted human tactical doctrine. They're as ready as they can be." Park G looked at the tactical display showing the enemy system. Thousands of red dots marked harvester ships. The processing facility itself appeared as a massive structure orbiting a dying star. Intelligence reports said it contained the absorbed minds of over 1 billion beings. "Open a channel to all ships," she said. Faces appeared on her screen. Human captains with grim expressions. Alien commanders who still looked confused by human tactics. Survivors from dozens of worlds who had lost everything to the machines. 6 months ago, a distress call reached our space, Park G began. It told us that an ancient enemy had returned to destroy all life in the galaxy. Today, we answer that call. She paused, looking at each face on the screen. The machines think they're superior because they're logical, because they can predict every move a rational being would make. They're wrong. Today, we show them what happens when Deathworlders stop being rational. All ships, begin the attack. The fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Nexus system. Immediately, alarms started blaring as thousands of harvester ships turned toward them. The enemy vessels were beautiful in a terrible way. Sleek. Curves of living metal that moved like sharks through space. Enemy fleet approaching. Estimated time to engagement 4 minutes, reported Tactical Officer Lee Soon. All fighters launch. Tell them to remember their training. Fly like humans, not like machines." Human fighters streamed out of their carriers, followed by alien pilots who had learned to think like humans. They moved in chaotic patterns that made no logical sense. Up, down, spinning, diving. The harvester ships tried to predict their movements and failed completely. "Enemy weapons firing," Lee soon announced. Energy beams lanced through space, but most missed their targets. The harvesters had calculated where rational pilots would go. Human pilots went somewhere else entirely. "Our turn," Park Ji said. "All ships, target the nearest enemy vessels. Ramming speed." What followed was the most chaotic battle in galactic history. Human ships accelerated straight at the enemy, firing every weapon they had. When their weapons ran out of ammunition, they used their ships as weapons. When their ships were damaged, the crews kept fighting with whatever they could find. The aliens watched in amazement and horror as humans did things that no logical being would ever do. They saw a human cruiser with its engines destroyed use its remaining momentum to slam into 3 harvester ships. They saw fighter pilots eject from their damaged craft and use personal jetpacks to board enemy vessels with nothing but hand weapons. "Admiral," Lee Ara reported, "the alien ships are requesting permission to adopt full human tactics. Tell them yes. Today, everyone fights like a human." The battle raged for hours. Ships exploded in brilliant flashes of light. Crews fought hand-to-hand combat in damaged vessels. The space around the processing facility became a graveyard of twisted metal and venting atmosphere. But slowly, impossibly, the combined fleet began to win. The harvester ships could not adapt fast enough to the chaos of human warfare. They had been built to fight logical opponents. Humans were anything but logical. "We're getting a signal from the processing facility," Lee Ara announced suddenly. "It's Colonel Shin Ho!" The colonel's face appeared on screen. He was bleeding from a head wound and his uniform was torn. Behind him, sparks flew from damaged alien machinery. "Admiral, we're in position. The charges are set, but there's a problem." "What kind of problem?" "The release mechanism has to be activated manually. Someone has to stay behind to trigger it. And, Admiral, the facility's defenses have us trapped. There's no way out." Park Ji felt her heart sink. "How long do you need?" 5 minutes to complete the sequence. Once it starts, this whole place is going to come apart. The stored consciousness will be released all at once, but the feedback will destroy the facility." "Understood, Colonel. Thank you." "Ma'am, it's been an honor serving with humans. Tell everyone that we did what Deathworlders do best. We didn't give up." The screen went dark. Park Ji turned to her crew. "All ships, pull back to minimum safe distance. Prepare for facility destruction." "Admiral," Lee soon said quietly, "the harvester fleet is reforming. They're going to try to stop us from escaping. Then we hold them off until the colonel's mission is complete." What followed were the longest 5 minutes in human history. The remaining ships of the combined fleet fought desperately against overwhelming odds. Ships that were barely holding together continued to fight. Crews that should have evacuated stayed at their posts. Finally, a brilliant flash of light erupted from the processing facility. The structure began to collapse in on itself as billions of stored minds were suddenly released. The psychic shockwave that followed rippled through space, causing every harvester ship to suddenly stop moving. "What's happening to them?" Lee Ara asked. Scientist Yu Bin, monitoring from one of the research vessels, provided the answer. "The machine intelligence is being overloaded. All those minds being released at once. It's like forcing it to think a billion different thoughts simultaneously. It's having a complete breakdown. Across the galaxy, harvester ships suddenly went dark. Processing facilities shut down. The vast network that connected the machine intelligence collapsed as it tried and failed to process the chaos of organic consciousness. "Admiral," reported the communications officer, "we're receiving transmissions from all over the galaxy. The machines have stopped. They're shutting down everywhere." Park G slumped into her command chair. They had won. Somehow, against impossible odds, they had actually won. "Casualties?" she asked. "Heavy. We lost 60% of the fleet. Colonel, Shinho's team. There were no survivors from the facility." Park G nodded sadly. The victory had come at a terrible price, but it was a price that humans understood. Sometimes winning meant losing everything. Months later, historian Dr. Jiang Mi stood in the rebuilt Galactic Council chambers. Representatives from hundreds of species had gathered to discuss the future of the galaxy. At the center of the chamber sat a simple memorial stone inscribed with the names of all who had died in the final battle. "The question before us today," announced the council president, a surviving Cathari leader, "is how to rebuild our civilization, how to ensure that such a threat never arises again." Dr. Jiang Mi rose to speak. "If I may, honorable counselors, I believe the answer is simple. We must never again allow ourselves to become so civilized that we forget how to fight for survival." "What do you propose?" asked an alien representative. "That we establish colonies on challenging worlds. Worlds that will teach us what Earth taught humanity. That we maintain military forces trained in irregular warfare. That we never again assume that advanced technology makes us safe from those who would destroy us." "You want us to become like humans?" The alien sounded shocked. "I want you to remember that in a universe full of dangers, sometimes the only way to survive is to be dangerous yourself." The council voted unanimously to adopt the human proposal. Across the galaxy, species that had lived in peace for millennia began establishing colonies on harsh worlds. They learned to fight with simple weapons. They trained their children to think tactically. Most importantly, they learned that true strength came not from having the best technology, but from being willing to use whatever you had, no matter the cost. The galaxy had been saved by Deathworlders. Now, by choice and necessity, the galaxy was learning to become Deathworlders themselves. In the end, that was humanity's greatest gift to the stars. Not their weapons or their ships or their tactics, but their willingness to keep fighting when all hope was lost, their refusal to give up even when surrender would be logical. The silent devourers had learned too late that there are some things in the universe